MVP News is brought to you by Infinity Action Sports. Infinity Action Sports is a veteran-owned and operated custom sporting goods shop for quality sports uniforms, apparel, and equipment. They provide top-of-the-line products for individuals and teams, youth and adult. Head over to infinityactionsports.com and browse their inventory of jerseys, hoodies, gloves, and bats. Or use the custom tab to create the perfect individualized uniform for your team or event. Make sure to enter promo code MVP at checkout for 10% off, specially marked sale items excluded. Infinity Action Sports is MVP's only trusted source for sports apparel. Click on the link in the description to shop.
Welcome to MVP News, where we get real about football. And now to your hosts, Mike Pagano and Paul Helmers.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Pagano. I'm with Paul Helmers. This is MVP News. Week 4 is in the books. We've got a ton of games to talk about. What's up, Paul?
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Oh, man, it's Sunday. Seattle won. I'm happy, and I've got a bunch of games to talk about. It's been an exciting up and down day. I don't know how you're feeling. Oh, I kind of do.
Pretty down today.
Hey, it's all good. I've been there before. So, as normal, before we dive into the games, because it is the weekly wrap-up episode, we like to just go ahead and hit a couple things and see what's going on, see if we have any rumor mills going or any injury news or whatever. So, Paul, what do you got for us?
Okay, the first thing I read was last week in the Vikings and Bills game in Minnesota. A better put down 9 G's on the Vikings to beat the Bills.
That was the
and
stupidest
obviously
thing.
Lost.
That must have been the stupidest feeling in the world,
right?
To bet that kind of money.
And the payout was only $450. Like, what's the point in risking $9,000 for $450? Why would you even do that?
I'll tell you what probably happened. What probably happened is he really needed $450, like really bad.
But he has 9 G's.
And he's like, well, no. He borrowed that. That's his dad's money. He needs $450, and he's like, what can I bet on that's the surest bet in the world? And he turned on First Take and Undisputed and First Things First, and everybody was all like, oh, the Vikings are going to beat the life out of them. So he went online and said, how much do I have to bet to make $450 on this? And someone probably told him $9,000. And then he went and dropped $9,000 on it. That's the only way you're dropping $9,000 on that game.
I don't know, man. Maybe it was a Bills fan. Because, I mean, Bills fans do some weird stuff, right? Bills Mafia is crazy. They're nuts up there.
They bet $9,000 against themselves. Yeah.
Right. Then, like, you can't go wrong, right? If your team loses, you lose, like, you win money, right? But if your team wins, you're super happy because your team won.
That's the worst logic I've ever heard in my life. All right, what else you got for us?
All right, Earl Thomas, it's been confirmed he has a fractured bone in his leg, and he will be out for the season.
Did you really have to go there?
I did have to do it. Did you notice his demeanor and his actions as he's being carted off the field?
Yeah, he flipped somebody the bird. I don't know. Was it the Seattle sideline? That's what it looked like.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I think he was looking right at Pete Carroll. I bet he was.
Hey, you put your body on the line. You go out there every day. If that's how you're really going to act, that you shouldn't have came out to play. You should never came and collected that check. But we'll save that for that point. What else you got?
I had no idea you were so anti-Earl Thomas today.
No, I'm definitely not.
Okay, but anyway, Tyler Eifert also had a serious injury, probably season-ending. I think he's set to have surgery after he broke his ankle today. It's quite disgraceful. Not like he did anything wrong, but it's disappointing, I think. Tyler Eifert's a really good player and just can't seem to stay healthy. Plus, have you seen the mullet on that guy?
Yeah, he's pretty American right there.
But yeah, so just another problem. But I think the Bengals will be fine. They've been playing without Tyler Eifert for a while, and they seem to be playing pretty good right now.
No, I mean, we'll see. He is a definite strong weapon, and we'll get into that game here in a little bit. But I think that definitely is going to hurt. I mean, season looking like it's over is never a good thing, especially for such a caliber player. But
Right.
I got something I want to point out. Did you see
Okay.
the Saints uniform today? I'm a uniform kind of guy. I like a good uniform matchup. I like when my eyes don't get tortured. Like there's certain fields and certain uniforms I can't stand, i.e. the Oakland Raiders stadium. Can't do
Yeah,
it.
their field sucks.
It hurts my soul. It just hurts me to watch it though. And there's some teams like Tampa Bay at a 1:00 game or it's noon. I can't do it. It's too bright. The colors, like it just hurts my eyes. Now tonight, this afternoon, watching the Giants and the Saints with the gold numbers with the white. Yeah, that was a beautiful uniform matchup. I like uniform
like it.
matchups that are well put, well just orchestrated. Two teams that match up well. I like it, and I wanted to just point that out.
I think today was a throwback day or something because the Falcons were wearing like 90s gear too.
Well, yeah, the Packers did. There was a lot of good uniforms today, but
At least we didn't see those Bumblebee Steelers jerseys, right?
yeah, I mean, I don't know though. I would say that I like those better than the Packers throwbacks.
Yeah, the Packers are pretty nasty too.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you
at
might
least
as
it
well,
wasn't the brown helmets, right? They had yellow helmets today.
yeah, you might as well put on the leather helmets if you're gonna wear that outfit.
Right.
At least let's watch some life, But so
Gladiator games.
one last thing that I want to throw out there, a little unrelated to football news, but just for the people listening, we do have a website in the works. That way you guys don't have to worry about going to several locations anymore. You're going to be coming straight to the website. And as you've noticed, if you're at this point of the podcast, we do have a sponsor now, Infinity Action Sports, a great place to go for custom uniforms, apparel, equipment, all types of from individual sports all the way to team sports. You heard it in the beginning. Go ahead and check out the link in the description. But we're slowly growing and things are getting a little bit better. And we hope that you guys enjoy what we've got coming for you here in the near future. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into these games. Let's go ahead and roll into what we do best, what we love to do, and that's talk football. First games first, we've got the Jets facing off against the Jaguars. So what happened here? We have a Jaguars team that won 31-12. Very, I'm actually going to let Paul hit on one of the points here that I was going to say, but because I know he has some feelings about it. But let's just say it's a very easy win for them. All in all, we saw an offense that, I mean, Bortles had his career high, 388 yards. We saw Darnold only throw like 167. The Jets team as a whole only rushed for 34 yards. You had Yeldon going off. You had two receivers 100-plus yards on the Jaguars side. It was a complete domination on the ball, offensive side of the ball for the Jaguars and the defensive side. There's not really much to be said other than if you didn't see it, you didn't miss much. Paul, what did you see from this game?
The big thing that stuck out to me personally was the disrespectful actions and attitude at the end of the game from the Jaguars. Most importantly from head coach Doug Marrone, who with 25 seconds left on the clock, and so instead of kneeling the ball out with the lead that he had, he decided, I'm going to go ahead and keep aggressively pushing the ball up the field and score another touchdown.
Yeah.
So he does. He scores another touchdown. And does he kick the field goal after that? No, of course not. He goes for 2.
Yeah.
Now, his response is that the chart said he should go for 2. But I think this all boils down to him missing out on that Jets job when they hired Todd Bowles instead of him. So now he's trying to, get a couple of jabs in or whatever. But I just think it's kind of disrespectful and a little unprofessional, honestly. He could do what he wants. Obviously he did. And he's going to move on with that. I hope you're proud. I do like what Leonard Williams said from the Jets. He said that he thinks it's disrespectful and quote, this is per NJ.com. Quote, but at the same time, I think it's up to us to gain that respect from other teams. And if teams are disrespecting us, it must say something about us. That's how I took it. I took it really personal, and I didn't like it at all.
I'm going to tell you what he should have said. I took it as disrespect, but if we don't want to be disrespected, let's go out there and stop them.
Well, I mean, that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, I understand where you're coming from, but if you got a problem with them scoring on you at will, stop them. I've seen
Right.
teams run up the scores before, and I've seen it happen many times. Now, within the last minute, that's a little different,
Right.
I
He
guess.
could have just kneeled the ball out. Like, you're trying to send a message that way.
But yeah,
I mean, Doug Marrone said the team's not good enough to send a message. Well, you send a message pretty loud and clear by going for that touchdown and going for 2 points.
Hey, maybe he's pissed that last week they were unable to do anything. Their offense was unable to move the ball. Borders looked bad, and they had a down game after just conquering the Patriots. So maybe he was like, "Yeah, I'm not letting up off the gas pedal." But yeah. So that game, I mean, really not that exciting though. Outside of that controversy, so let's go ahead and get into this next game because this next game is a big game. This next game we had a lot of talk about prior to it.
What did I tell you? What did I say?
We said that we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt one more week, and we did.
And they proved us right.
Whew! I tell you right now, I'm a little thankful because I was worried.
I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried yet. If they lost this week, I'd be worried. But after, yeah.
Well, let me tell you one thing that I saw. Screw all the the offensive and what's his name, Michelle. It's like I'm not even going on that route. Tannehill was 11 for 20 for 100 yards. The defense came to play. The Patriots defense, the defense that you hear on all the shows that they're not going to be that good.
Yeah.
They
can't stop anybody.
They can't stop anybody. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They can't get off the field on third down. They dominated a team that's 3-0 now. I know that people are going to say it's the Dolphins. Hey, I don't care what you say. If you're 3-0 in this league, you're doing something. You're professional players and you're doing something. So they handed them their first loss.
Right. And you touched on it a little bit, but I mean, not only the defense came to play, but the Patriots actually established a run game today. Sony Michel went for over 200 yards. James White was killing it too. It wasn't just Sony Michel. Honestly, the Patriots just ran on all cylinders and played like we knew the Patriots should be playing. I think Josh Gordon helped a little bit, even though he wasn't super active. I saw a funny story that apparently he ended the game today with 4.2 fantasy points. Like 420.
That's funny.
But no, Gronk left the game, but the thought is that it's not really a long-term injury, that they just already were up like 31-0. There's no reason for him to keep playing after that. So take it easy, nice precaution. So all in all, really, like you said, I think this is a statement game for the Patriots. They put their division, the conference, and the league on notice that they are not done yet.
I wouldn't go too far to say that they put the league on notice, like because they had 2 terrible games back to back. So coming and whooping up on the Dolphins isn't going to be suddenly like, Patriots are ready to go conquer the AFC, because you still got the Chiefs there. Because guess what's going to happen tomorrow night? Tomorrow night on Monday night, for the people listening tonight, the Chiefs are going to continue to put the league on notice. So I wouldn't go that far yet, but I will say that they did say, hey, pump your brakes. We are the Patriots. I mean, Bill Belichick he had his whip out and he was in there. I mean, he was, he had to get the team locked in square and loaded. So no, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens next week. This is a storyline that I'm going to enjoy following. But, I mean, yeah, they got the W, and what more can we say? Now, let's go ahead and talk about another team that was in the Super Bowl last year, not named the Patriots, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. Now,
this is my favorite game of the week.
Now, I'm going to say something that if you guys have been listening to a couple podcasts, if you've only been listening to maybe 2, let's say this is your 3rd podcast, I think Paul's an undercover Titans fan. What do you think, guys? Comment below on wherever you're listening to this at. Tweet at Real MVP News or Instagram, and let me know what you're thinking, because I think Paul is undercover Titans fan. I don't know if it's something that is happening lately, but I'm not surprised to hear that. So why is this? Paul, tell me, why is this your favorite game?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the idea that I might be an undercover Titans fan. I'm a fan of one team and one team only, and that's the Cleveland Browns, okay?
But yeah, your favorite game was not the Browns game, huh?
No, it wasn't. That was an awful game, and we'll get to that later. But the Titans, so every year, I don't have second favorite teams, right? There's no such thing as a second favorite team. You have your favorite team and everyone else. And maybe on the other side of that, you have some teams you really despise. But I usually pick a team that I really like to watch throughout the year that kind of they're exciting. There's something. Now, Tony Gonzalez doesn't agree with me. He said on the Fox pregame show that the Titans are boring and he doesn't see them making the playoffs. They were going to lay a stinker today. You know, they couldn't really do much. They're just a kind of a defensive team and they're boring. Well, I think they're exciting. They're a defensive team that's gritty and they grind and they're here to play. And they're showing it by beating these teams that no one gives them a shot against. That no one gave them a shot against the Jaguars. They come out on top. No one gave them a shot against the Eagles this week, and they came out on top.
They're 3-1.
I know. They're a real team. They're a real team. Now, I'm not saying like they have their issues. Marcus Mariota played pretty good today as far as the passing game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They didn't really have much rushing game at all. But, I mean, Mariota won 344 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He led his team in rushing with 46 yards.
And he brought them down in that game-winning drive in overtime. After the Eagles kicked the field goal, they came all the way back up the field, and they got the touchdown, and they won the game.
Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be addressed because let's think about that. What's going on in your mind state when you're a QB who's getting the ball in overtime, and it's not just overtime like I've got to go try and score because if not, they're going to try and score. No. The field goal's been made. You're in sudden death right now. Like if you mess up, if you throw a pick, if you fumble it, if you don't convert,
too many bad passes that go incomplete even.
It is over. But he drove down that field. He got to what he had to do, and he puts it in the end zone. And that play is up on our Facebook and our Instagram because it was a great throw.
Oh yeah,
and a great
catch too. Corey Davis showing us what he's made of. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of quick to bail on the Titans today. Early on in the game, they were down a little bit, and I was like, oh man, it looks like they're not going to make it, and I gave up on them. And you know what? I'm not going to do that again. I'm sorry, Titans. You earned my respect today for sure. I picked you to win. I picked the upset, and you came through for me. So the Titans are my team that I like to watch this year, other than the Browns.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it all up, so I ain't got nothing to say about it. Let's go ahead and roll into the next game. And the Titans are 3-1. That's definitely something that we need to address and understand. And in their division, there's a team that we thought was going to be 3-1, that we thought was going to have a good record, and they started the season out 0-3. But today, they got their first win. That's the Houston Texans when they battled the Colts, 37-34. Now, this game right here was a good game as far as so the Texans, the Texans are kind of weird to me this season, but I loved seeing Deshaun Watson again throw for 375 yards, 2 touchdowns. But let me tell you something that's really interesting. You got Fuller and Hopkins. We knew about these guys already. Well, Kuti, is that how you say his name? He had 11 receptions, which is the most in a debut since like 1970. And he had 109 yards. If you add that with Fuller and you add that with Hopkins, if this guy, this receiver that debuted today, that came out and they got him on the field today, that's 3 dangerous weapons.
Oh, yeah, I've never even heard of that guy.
Yeah, that he can really use. I mean, Miller didn't really have a good rushing performance. It was only 49 yards. But all in all, I mean, even with Luck throwing 4 touchdowns, 464 yards, having a game himself, I think the problem was that both teams didn't rush the ball at all because, I mean, the Colts, I think, had a total amount of rush yards of like 30-something yards or something. It was really bad. I mean, their leading rusher on the Colts had 16 yards. 16. Yeah. But it came down to a 37-yard field goal to win it in overtime. It was a tough battle. AFC South game. Both are 1-3. So this is kind of like they're kind of falling away from the pack. The Jaguars and the Titans, they're doing their thing, and this division kind of belongs to them.
One thing I think you missed, right, is what led up to the game-winning field goal. The Texans had to get the ball, and they had to put the ball in field goal range. And that was at a tie game, right? So the 34-34, Colts have the ball. They have the opportunity to drive down and maybe score. If not, it's a tie game, right? The clock, I mean, there wasn't much time left at all.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth down, they don't punt. They go for it, and they fail. Give the Texans the ball back in good field position for them to hit a quick, I think they hit a pass over the middle, call their timeout, or spike the ball, whatever it was, kick the field goal, win the game, right? Frank Reich said after the game, he's not playing for ties. And I got to say, I like it. I like the aggressive nature of that. You go out and you either win or you lose. We're going to put it all on the line. And if you deserve to win, then we'll win. And Colts didn't deserve to win today.
Hey, I like the not playing for ties thing. I'm not going to lie. When watching the Browns game today, I was like, man, if y'all tie
Two
again,
ties.
and we'll get into that game later. But I was like, man, come on. And I want to add something. So I texted Paul, I think it was this morning, because if you looked at our bonus episode, we talked about, oh, man, they should have a kickoff or something. But I texted Paul something else this morning that came to my mind when I was driving. I'll be honest with you. If it gets to the end of overtime and neither team has scored, they both should just get a loss. Like, you're both losers. Like, you didn't do it.
I feel like that ends up being weird when it comes down to like tiebreakers at the end of the season. So like, let's say after week 1, the Browns and the Steelers are both 0-1.
What? That would be the same thing as if you guys didn't play each other. You played somebody else and you're 0-1.
But I'm saying like that later on in the season, you have to think about like, now, let's say we end the season, we're both 10-6, right? Just hypothetically, we're both 10-6. We're leading.
You just
the
move
division.
down the bracket. There's so many different tiebreakers. So your divisional record, your conference record, your.
Well, I guess for that particular matchup, I guess it wouldn't be in the same division.
It wouldn't be the same as you having a half a win and now you're screwing everybody.
It sounds like you're just jealous because we could end up on top because of a.
No, Paul. You remember how earlier this week you said, "Hey, Mike, we have a better record than you," and I honestly thought this was going to last one more week.
I did too.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on.
You know what? The Seahawks almost lost.
The next game we've got, ladies and gentlemen, was another stinker. Hopefully no one bet on the Bills for this one. Hopefully nobody thought they were going to win. We've got the Packers facing off against the Bills. The Packers are sitting here saying we're not the Vikings, although they looked pretty stinky. So we got a 22-0 win right here, and it's a stinker of itself for many reasons. But the Packers have a win. They walk away with adding another tally mark to their record, so that's important. They're 2-1-1. The Bills are 1-3. Allen had 151 yards. Rodgers had 298. And it was a pretty fair game. Now, one thing that I will say here is Allen leads his team in rushing yards. McCoy only had 24 yards today. Like, I don't know what's going on with McCoy. Does he just not want to play? Is he just giving up on his team?
No, I think the Bills are in. I think the Bills are in a little bit of a rebuild right now. I know they've lost some players. I know they traded an offensive lineman away. I know that because he came to the Browns. They've made some moves, and I think they're in a state where they want to kind of remake their identity after the Tyrod Taylor playoff run. So even though they make the playoffs for the first time since 1999, they say, you know what? This isn't us. We should try this again. We should do it all over. So, maybe they won't make the playoffs for another, 18, 19 years again. I don't know.
Yeah, so unlike most teams that when they finally make the playoffs, they'll even though it's not the right chemistry, they'll do that whole 5 years, like the Bengals. So with Dalton, they went to the playoffs 5 years in a row. They just kept failing. So the Bills were like, no. We're not here to do this failing 5 years in a row thing. I don't care about playoff berths. This ain't it. Let's start from scratch. They're looking for that Rams offense right now. They're like, When we look like that, that's when we'll be happy. No, but all in all, though, this is a stinker of a game. Nothing really special about it. We're not going to really harp on it. If you're a Bills fan, I still want you to be a fan, but we're not going to talk much about your games if it's like this. And I don't think you'd want me to. I don't think you'd want to hear that. Remember Paul said there's no second favorite teams, but you could follow other teams. So
right, like the Titans. Check them out. They look pretty good.
Titans could use some bandwagoners. So, all right, guys. So, and Packers fans, don't think you're getting off easy. Don't think you somehow walked away from this. You guys did not play that well today. Now, I know that the Bills whooped up on the Vikings last week, so of course, this is a proud moment. But I promise you, you did not look that well today. And we will be addressing this over the week because this is something that we do need to get into about what's going on with the Packers this season. And also, be prepared for games that are going to be coming up against actual formidable teams. But until that moment, let's go ahead and roll into the next game where I must eat a little crow myself. I think you're eating some crow.
I picked the Lions.
Yep. And we got the Lions and the Cowboys. Now, I do want to go ahead and humble brag myself for 2 seconds and say this. I did say when I picked the Lions, I said, Paul, they can win if they feed Zeke 20, 25 times. So Zeke got 25 rushes today. He had 152 yards. And he even got 4 catches for 88 yards. So all-purpose yards.
And a couple of touchdowns, right? Or was it just one
touchdown? He had 1 touchdown. But all-purpose yards, he had 240. And then Dak, because of what this opened up for him, had 255 yards with 2 touchdowns. Now, I want people to make sure they look at these stats properly. Dak did not. Don't look at this and see 255, 2 touchdowns and say, oh, Dak did that. This is because Zeke ran that ball like an animal.
Right. And I mean, I did see Dak had a couple good looking throws that were further down the field. And I want to be clear. It's not that we ever thought that Dak Prescott is incapable of being a pro quarterback or anything like that. He can do this. He can make some good throws, but overall his accuracy decreases the further up the field it goes, and they don't really want him to throw the ball upfield. And I think that's because of what we kind of assume that he's not really that good at throwing the ball upfield. So I'm going to be honest. I was so in on the Lions for this game. Like, I was so sure that the Lions were going to show up and show out. Like, they just beat the Patriots. The Cowboys offense is a stinker the past, however many weeks.
3.
I was so, well, I mean, even into last year, and I was so in on them. I said, you know what? I'm going to pick up the Lions defense of fantasy football. They're going to lead me to victory. Oof. I can't say that they hurt me, but they definitely didn't help me. I got a big goose egg from them. So,
Oh, they got you 0?
Yeah.
You said you can't say they hurt you? That hurts.
I mean, it could be worse, right? They could have gone negative. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's the positive spin I'm putting on this. They could have gone negative, but they didn't. I'm okay.
All right, well, speaking of fantasy, I guess I'll let the world know. Hopefully by now, the people that would make fun of me are gone. They've turned it off.
I'll make fun of you.
I know. So this week, I hung 55, 65,
was it like
71.
90-some points and just 3 guys?
Yeah, 92 points, I believe, or 90.
Because for some reason, you still think it's a good idea to start Russell Wilson or Jared Goff.
90 points football. Flat. I hung 90 points even, right on the dot. 90 points in fantasy among 3 players. And right now, I'm up by 5. With Emmanuel Sanders still to play against me.
Right, so you would have annihilated him if you just played the right guys.
Yeah, if I would have just, not even all 3 of them, I could have just picked any, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Right, just put Goff in instead.
So I left Goff on my bench because
you're a homer.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a homer.
Not a little bit.
See, I saw Russell going into Arizona against that team that has been getting really dominated a lot this season. And I saw him doing good things. And then I saw Baldwin coming back. And I saw, Tyler Lockett having a touchdown in every game this season. So I really saw something there. Now, for why Woods was on my bench, because Woods has not
you
produced
just forgot,
for me.
right?
Well, no, he didn't produce for me for like the last couple weeks, except last week he produced, and I just didn't. I never got around. I was prepping for the show on Wednesday. I was prepping for the show all day. That things fell behind. So Woods was he had 22 points or something. Goff had 55, and then Yeldon today, who was supposed to be falling back because Fournette gets hurt again. Yeldon goes off for 19 points. So
I tried to pick up Yeldon, I think, in both of my leagues, like after the first week. But I mean, that was mostly because Fournette went down. But I
Fournette's
also
hurt
was
again.
watching him right. But not only that, but I was also looking at when Fournette was playing, Yeldon was still getting red zone work. Not just passes, but also run game work.
He's
so
a good, he's someone you definitely want to have.
This is a guy I could probably use. I think if Yeldon's in the free agency at this point, definitely pick him up. I don't think he would be, but yeah, definitely pick him up.
Yeah, no, you're not going to find him in the free agency. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I usually start him. This is the first week I took him out because of the Fournette thing and a couple other players I have that are really good. And I love Collins too. I put Collins in for the Ravens and
hit an okay game, right?
Yeah, he did good for me. But all right, let's go ahead and keep rolling though. This isn't the fantasy episode. This next game, we've got a lot to talk about. And let me end it real quick on the Cowboys actually. So Cowboys fans, I know that you take a game, and I already see it now. Tomorrow on Undisputed, or today for the people listening.
Yeah,
Skip's going to be all crazy about it and all in. And so, back to where he thought he was. And that's Dak, and that's this, that, and that's. Look, guys, you played good. You played against the Lions, who are 1-3. Now, we were up high on them, and we picked them because they came off that win against the Patriots. But this game,
because the Cowboys offense, don't forget.
Well, yeah,
we're also down on the Cowboys offense.
But don't get me wrong, Cowboys fans. If you feed Zeke, and I'm going to stick by this, if you continue to feed Zeke, you can do a lot of damage. But you have to continue to feed Zeke. He's got to eat 20-plus times a game. You cannot fall away from that scheme. You cannot change it up because the only reason why Dak has those throws is from the play actions, from the bootlegs, from the different reasons that are set up because you got 8 men in that box. They can't run a nickel. They're not going to go to the dime because they know right away the minute that happens, Zeke will demolish them.
He's going to eat them up for
they stay
20,
in their base
formation.
They stay with 8 in the box, and they're not going to go away from it. So I'm telling you right now, they better keep feeding the beast. All right,
feed them. Let them eat.
Let's go into the next game. Ooh, I'm gonna let Paul have this one for a moment because I know Paul's got a lot of feelings about this. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chicago Bears. Go ahead, and I'll let you set the rest of that up.
Mitch Trubisky throws for 354 yards and 6 touchdowns, and commentators are quick to crown him as really showing us who he really is. He's such a great player. He did that on 19 completions. So, and he had a good completion percentage. I'm not trying to take that away from him either. He had a good game today, but Tampa Bay's defense, what are they doing?
Let me add one thing for you, Paul. I did some research real quick because I needed to know this because I knew what you were going to say. In the first 4 games this season, Tampa Bay has given up 139 points.
Right. That's bad. They're bad.
That's terrible.
Their defense is bad. It's really bad. And the only thing that's been keeping Tampa alive is their high-powered offense they've been able to maintain. Well, the Bears have a real defense. Real good. And I mean, Crow here, I picked the Bucs because I thought maybe, the magic could continue. The magic didn't continue. Now, this is a hot button topic. I'm gonna agree with Tampa that they should have pulled Fitzpatrick and put Winston in, only because Fitzpatrick had a 49 passer rating or something like that, and no touchdowns. He threw a pick. He just nothing was working out. They had to make a change. And if you think about it, Jameis Winston's in a contract year right now. They have to know if Jameis is their guy or if they need to get someone else. They have to know that. And we all knew that the clock was going to strike midnight at some point on Fitzpatrick. I mean, this kind of ended up being the day, but I expected more out of Tampa than this. And I mean, to be honest, I expected less out of Chicago than this. But I mean, I guess I really overestimated the Bucs defense and how awful it was. Like the only guy on the Bears offense that didn't have a great game today was Jordan Howard. And it's not like he played bad. He just wasn't the guy that got the big, long, giant touchdowns that everybody else got. So, I mean, that's really all I got to say. That's my little spiel.
That's your little spiel?
Yeah. Sorry for the impassioned.
No, you're
I took
good.
all the talking points.
So let me add a little bit to this. Now, one, I do want to note that the Chicago Bears are 3-1 in that division against the Vikings. So that's really intriguing right there to see what's going on. I cannot wait. Let me say this very clear. I cannot wait for the Bears-Vikings game. I cannot wait.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be fun. But no, let me touch on a couple of things about this game and kind of with what he was saying. And I agree. If you watch these games, announcers have this thing where they always crown the players watching, and they always like talk about these intangibles and like they have a way of talking like this kid has been an up and coming, and that announcer will act like he's been waiting for him to blow up. Like, for example, the Seattle game today, Mike Davis breaks 100 yards. The announcer's like, well, I've been watching this kid since that. That's just how they are. They're just entertainers.
Yeah, you watched a little bit of film on this guy this week because you knew he was getting the start. Like
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, so I know that they're doing it, but listen, Mitch Trubisky, hey, he's a good little QB. He does his thing, and we enjoy watching him. But I don't want people to see these 6 touchdowns and start doing like some crazy, here's a comparison. His touchdowns were 6. Jared Goff had 5 on Thursday. This was nowhere near the performance that Jared Goff gave us on Thursday. This
Jared
is not
Goff
even
was squeezing that
this
ball.
Is not
in.
even
he was hitting tight
smidgen.
windows.
Yeah, this is not a smidgen of what Jared Goff gave us on Thursday. What Jared Goff did on Thursday was Van Gogh, was Picasso, was Michelangelo. What Trubisky just gave us was Blues Clues. Okay.
I thought you were gonna go with something different, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but so no, I just wanted to put that out there. But it was a good showing, no matter what. You got to be happy if you're a Bears fan. I'm not knocking the guy. I'm just saying he's not, he's not in the Hall of Fame right now. Now, about this Bucs team. One, terrible defense. Terrible defense. That's why Mitch did what he did. No matter what, I think, they had the momentum. They were going to win the game, but 6 touchdowns, that's the Bucs defense. They gave up 1 million points to the Steelers. They gave up 1 million points to the Saints. That's just how they're playing. But I want to talk about Jameis Winston and Fitzmagic real quick. Now, you mentioned that he had a 49 passer rating, and Winston, he's a franchise quarterback. That he's in his final year of the contract. They need to know, is this the guy? Well, one, about passer ratings, 50 is average. So 49 is not terrible. It's bad. I mean, you're not happy about it, but it's not like terrible.
Wait, 50's average?
Yeah, are you thinking of QBR? QBR goes up to 150. Passer rating. Oh no, QBR goes up to 100. Passer rating goes up to 150. Did you say passer rating or QBR?
I said passer rating, I think, but now you're making me second guess my numbers.
Okay. If it is a passer rating, then no, you're right. It's terrible. That is below average. If it's a QBR, that's at average. So QBR goes from a scale of 0 to 100. Passer rating is up to 158.4, is it? And Goff had a perfect
something like that, yeah.
passer. But all in all, what I'm saying is he wasn't terrible, okay? Yeah, he had 1 pick. That's it. He didn't have any touchdowns. He didn't have like 4 picks. He didn't have like 3 like against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was still moving the ball a little bit. He had some good passes. He had that one pass to just Deshaun Jackson along the sideline, fingertip grab. So what I'm saying is, you know what you're going to get from Fitz, okay? This team fell apart not because Fitzpatrick. The Fitzpatrick wasn't playing on defense. This big lead, I mean, if you look at the coach after the game, Dirk Cutter.
He nailed it.
He says the Bucs need to fire every single person that was on the field. Think about that. The coach is saying everyone. Me too. He said me too. We all failed. So when they pull the QB as if it's his fault, and that's what makes me upset, because when you go back to that Pittsburgh game, when they went down 30-10, Fitzpatrick brought him back 27 to 30. Now they came up short, but they whatever. Jameis did not do anything. It's 10:48. What did Jameis do? Jameis had 145 yards.
Touchdown.
Yeah, he had one touchdown because he actually got in the
16 to 20
game
with a touchdown.
Hey, listen to me. He got one touchdown. It's 10-48.
I mean, he only played for a half.
Okay, but what I'm saying is in a half, last week, Fitzpatrick threw for 17 points. He put 17 points up on the board. And
against an inferior defense.
I'm not.
If you're going to say the Steelers are anywhere near what the Bears are on defense right now, that's a
I'm not sitting here saying that, but what I'm saying is you don't pull that man for that. For what he's done for you guys. Now, here's what the thing. Last thing I'm going to say, then we'll move on. You mentioned that he's in his contract year, and it's time you need to figure out what's going on. And I get that. But that decision, that needs to happen once you – if I was the coach, I'm putting Jameis in when I know for 100% fact that either A, Fitzpatrick is not the man to go with. He can't win us these games. Or B, the season's over. Like, we have no chance. Even if Fitzpatrick's doing good. So, if Fitzpatrick fails, I put Winston in, and that's at that point, I'm never going back to Fitzpatrick. Or, Fitzpatrick's doing awesome, but we're like, well, we're never going to make the playoffs, so, all right, put Winston in because we need to see what the future is. But now that you pulled him, you cannot go back to him. So, if Winston stinks it up, your whole season's gone when you're only 2-2. You're 2-2. If Fitzpatrick was going to keep playing the way he was playing with these good games, there's still a chance you get something out of this season. If Winston don't, it's over.
But my question to you is, what's the difference? If you leave Fitzpatrick in and you make the playoffs, right? You make a playoff run. Let's be honest, no one's calling Tampa Bay a Super Bowl champion here with that defense, okay? So let's say you keep Fitzpatrick in and you make a playoff run. You get to the playoffs, maybe even win a playoff game. Right? What then? Are you re-signing Fitzpatrick? Are you going to keep him there next year? Is he your guy?
Does that matter?
No, it does matter. Because basically what you're saying is you're delaying the inevitable, right? If you keep Fitzpatrick in, you make the playoffs with them, and you're like, sweet, Tampa Bay's freaking awesome, right? We're doing so well. We had a playoff run. Everything's going great. And then you don't bring Fitzpatrick back. You're in the same boat.
The thing is,
you have to decide if you're going to play Jameis Winston or not now, and you haven't seen him play at all.
No, the thing is, you either need to make a decision where are you going for something this year, or are you in rebuild mode? And if they're chasing a ring,
Jameis Winston, if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you don't have a franchise.
Well, I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, and he put himself in that position.
My personal opinion, I don't think so either. But that, like, they invested a number one pick in him. They have invested money into him. They invested time into him. They need to know if he's their guy. And if he's not their guy, they need to move on. And if they find out quick here that he's not their guy, perfect. They go draft a new guy. They're ready to go. But if they keep Fitzpatrick in all season and he does great and they make the playoffs, then what? They still have to figure out if Jameis Winston's their guy.
They got a playoff berth. They selling tickets. They're making money.
Yeah, and then you got to waste money on Jameis Winston, who might not even be the guy you want.
Nah, you don't waste money on him. You just cut him.
So you just make the decision, okay, Fitzpatrick took us to the playoffs, Jameis, you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even see you play, but you're out. Get out. I don't know. It's just, to me, the move makes sense.
I mean, eventually, I think Winston was going to get in. I just don't think he should have came in this early. I don't think he should have came in on these terms. But let's go ahead and keep moving. This is the weekly wrap-up. We'll save this conversation because it is going to come back up this week. Let's go ahead and dive into the next game. This one right here had a crazy ending. This is the Bengals and the Falcons. We saw a game that came down to the final 10 seconds. So I believe the touchdown catch was at 7 seconds, but if you watch the highlight, it starts at 11 or 10 seconds. But you got A.J. Green catching a touchdown pass with 10 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever it is left.
I think the clock went down to 7 before the play ended.
Yeah, and it put the Bengals on top in a slugfest right here of touchdowns, 37-36. Andy Dalton had 3 touchdowns. Matt Ryan had 3 touchdowns. Both of them had good yards, 337 and 419. Not really much for the running games, but good. Wide receivers are definitely doing it. Julio Jones, 173 yards. All in all, this is an offensive game. Andy Dalton did play better than I expected him to play. I had the Falcons picked here. I was wrong. This is actually the Bengals' first win in Atlanta since 1987. So
those are back in Super Bowl days for Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's back in what's his face, Chris Collinsworth days, ain't it? Or is he 70s?
I don't even know. I couldn't tell you that one. It's back in Anthony Munoz days. We'll call that one. He's a Hall of Famer.
Chris Collinsworth would be like, now here's a guy.
I was just about to say, now here's a guy.
And that'll be on our Chris Collinsworth podcast episode. Join us back on in the future for that. So, what do you got to say about this game, Paul?
Oh, really? Bengals showed up. They have impressed me all season. I didn't really expect much of anything from them after last season, and they didn't really seem to make too many roster changes other than like they let Jeremy Hill go. Their defensive coordinator went away. Whoever they got for their defensive coordinator has been doing pretty well. I mean, obviously this game, not so much. He gave up 36 points, but it is the Falcons offense, right? It's not like he was playing nobodies. This is Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, and that run attack. They played a pretty good offense today, but honestly, the way Andy Dalton drove down the field and hit AJ Green on that game-winning touchdown, I mean, this is what we know about Andy Dalton anyway. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. So this time he was there, and he looked really good.
Awesome. Well, you were asking their defensive coordinator. It is Terrell Austin, just so you know. I actually don't know him. He's not familiar to me. I don't recognize that name. So let's go ahead and get into the next game. This is a good game right here. Hey, let me clear my throat up. Ladies and gentlemen.
Put my man voice on because I'm talking about the Seahawks, and they escaped a win. They escaped. The Cardinals had the game-winning field goal, and they missed it.
Go ahead, get it out.
I'm sorry. That's all I really got. I'll let you go.
It wasn't a game-winning field goal. Let's just clear that up. It was the taking the lead field goal. Because it wasn't like final second. No, it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds or 3 minutes left, or whatever it was.
Right, they gave the Seahawks the ball in great field position with that much time left. That's a game-winning field goal. If then they kick off and the Seahawks have to drive the whole field instead of half the field.
And we would have did it. Because we did it anyway. Look, stop. I know you want to say escape because you guys buried yourself and then couldn't escape it.
This has nothing to do with my team. This has everything to do with your team.
All right, Seahawks fans. I'm sorry for wasting that time that you just had. I will reclaim my time. I will reclaim it for you, and we will talk about this game. Now, I do want to say, as an unbiased Seahawks fan, that we made a terrible load of mistakes today. We looked bad in many areas. We looked good in some other ones, and I'm not happy about it, but here's what I am happy about. I've seen us make mistakes in the past and walk away with losses. I've seen us make mistakes in the past and walk away with wins. Today, we made mistakes, but we were able to walk away with a win. I'd rather learn from a win than regret a loss. And what I mean by that is the mistakes that were made today, we just learn from them. We missed 2 field goals. Janikowski pulled 2 of them. That dropped 6 points off the board. If those 6 points are on the board, it doesn't come down to them kicking a field goal at that moment. They are trying to score a touchdown. We also had 0 third down conversions all game. Let me say this one more time because this one is...
That's a weird stat.
0 third down conversions. That means if we ever made it to third down, we gave the ball back. Holy jeez. That is absolutely terrible. And if Seattle doesn't work on that, they're not going to make it anywhere this season. You're not going to get these lucky wins, Pete Carroll. You're not going to get them. Now, we did lose Earl Thomas in this game, as we talked about at the top of the hour. That's going to hurt us, but this defense has been playing tight. It has been playing good, and I am confident in it. Janikowski was able to, even though he missed 2 kicks, knock that 52-yard game winner in. Mike Davis had over 100 yards. I think he had 101 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett had 53 yards. Doug Baldwin made a couple catches. They weren't, stats piling up. he's not 100%. So for him to have those catches, that's good. And now on the other side of the ball, I do want to talk about Rosen. Now, even though this wasn't a heavy passing game, Russell Wilson had 172 yards. Rosen had 180 yards. Rosen did not look bad. I don't know about you, Paul. I know you were trying to watch the Browns game while this game was on, but I saw some good passes from the kid. They were clean pockets, clean throws into small, narrow windows. I was worried because I'm a Seahawks fan, but as far as a football fan goes, I really enjoyed seeing what he was able to do. And I think that this kid, they do have their franchise quarterback. All in all, though, Seattle won this game. They did walk away with a final field goal, taking it. But, hey, hopefully they learn from their mistakes. They work on these third downs. The offensive line looks better. Let's keep moving forward.
Okay, the next game. This one hurts. This one hurts a little bit. We're going to go over to the Bay.
That's why it was quiet when I finished. You thought I was waiting for you. I was having a moment of silence.
we have the Oakland Raiders taking on the Cleveland Browns at home, and the Browns come in as a favorite. They haven't won a road game since 2015. That still stands.
Was this the first time you guys were a favorite in like a long time?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember that stat. What I do know, here's my issue. How do we come in with the defense that we've been playing and give up 45 points? I know we had 3 turnovers. I know, I got it. But we also forced 2. We would have had a third, but the refs blew it dead. I just don't know. Like, I can't blame the referees with the blowing that fumble dead that would have gone for a touchdown too. Or even the review in the last drive that the Browns have that would have given the first down and ended the game, because the Raiders we were in victory formation. The Raiders had 1 timeout left. If that's a first down, like they called it in the first place, we kneel the ball out, game's over, we win. We had an 8-point lead. But how can I even blame them when we gave up 45 points? 45 points.
And what you said about really the 8-point lead part, that defense, to give up the 2-point conversion surprised me, because a good defense might give up that touchdown, but you lock that 2-pointer down. You destroy any a chance of that. So that when you bring that up, that hurts me, because I was cheering for you guys as well. So that really does hurt me, because it's like, come on, I was talking about, I started comparing you guys to Seattle back in 2012.
I told you to pump your brakes. I said that. I just want that on the record. Also, I know we did lose Mitchell. He had a wrist problem. I want to say in somewhere around maybe the second quarter. He ended up coming off the field with a little bit of a limp wrist. It looks like he might have broken something. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, so we can get him back, because we obviously need him. There was a huge deficiency between him and TJ Carey, who played for the Raiders last year. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's an inside job. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I know Derek Carr's good. I thought the Raiders offense has been good this season, but they do turn the ball over. I just don't know how we gave up 45 points to them. I don't, that part baffles me. And I just don't know. Marshawn Lynch went crazy. I think he got pretty mad early on in the game. He was breaking a tackle. The refs blew the play dead, and he slid off the tackle like right after the whistle and started breaking away. And he was real upset after that. And I think that's what really drove him. But Baker Mayfield, that's a hot topic. Everyone wants to know about Baker Mayfield. I think Baker looked pretty good. Now, it's his first start, and he did come out and play. The interception that he did 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw an interception, not really his fault. I don't know if you could call it an overthrow. Either way, Callaway tips the ball, Raiders catch it, they take it back for a touchdown. That obviously isn't what you want. I'm not really blaming him for that. The fumbles, we'll put that on him. But my biggest knock on him was his decision-making skills on crucial downs. So when we really need to move the sticks, when we need to convert on third downs, on fourth downs, and we have five yards to go, he's taking shots downfield on guys who are double covered. And I mean, this isn't the Big 12. You're not playing at Oklahoma anymore. You're playing against pros, guys who know what they're doing, guys who cover better than that. You can't be doing that. Nick Chubb looked awesome. I want to talk about Nick Chubb because he had a couple home run balls. What is a 61 yard.
Talk about an average.
Right. He had 3 carries for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. But so he looked pretty good. He had some breakaway runs. Carlos Hyde, workhorse back, drove us through the game. But Raiders took this one, and they deserve to win. When we go to overtime, when we have an 8-point lead, we give up the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. We go to overtime, and we can't get in scoring range. When we stop them, we get a stop, and all we got to do is get in range and score. We can't, so we punt to them, and here we are.
No, so I want to add some stuff to that. You broke down the game, so I don't want to touch the game. I'm gonna leave the game alone. You got it. I mean, you watch that game like a hawk, and I felt your pain through what you said, so I could never convey the pain that I felt for you better than you did. But I can talk about Baker, and I hope that tomorrow when I turn on to First Things First and Undisputed, those are the two that I probably listen to the most, and then Coward. Coward's like my hero.
I like Coward,
I love the guy. But First Things First is like 8 a.m. for me. So like that's my like in the shower, getting back from the gym. I turn on my my TV and I'm listening. And I know that a lot of people were boosting up Baker after a half a game. And I hope that you still have that same energy. I hope y'all didn't give up on Baker because of this. But at the same time, I hope you don't do what Paul just did there. That's right. I see Paul looking at me like that when I said that. Like,
what did I do?
What did I do?
What did I do?
He made terrible decisions tonight. He
right. On those crucial downs, like I was saying. No, I agree with you entirely. I'm not trying to undersell it. He made bad decisions. Because he absolutely. But my thing is, it's his first start ever.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying he's done. Like, that's it.
No.
It's his first start. I think he's fine. I think he's still good. I still have 100% confidence that Baker Mayfield is going to be our franchise guy. I like him.
Yeah. But here's what I would say, though.
He's got my heart.
I think that this game showed exactly why. And ready for this? I'm ready to make a couple people eat their words. This is why he was sitting behind Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, I agree with you.
For the skips out there that said, if you start Baker Mayfield, you are 3-0. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe
we
not.
We might not have won the first
because
year.
Guess what?
I don't know about the Steelers. After that, he might have come together. I mean, we played pretty good against the Saints. But
here's the thing, though. Those both games came down to very crucial game time moments that Tyrod, being a veteran, made those throws. We saw today Tyrod just like when he needs 3, throwing 60. And then he, in his mind, thinks he has a bigger arm than he does. So he tries to do it.
I don't think it's the arm strength. I don't think that's the problem. I think he's just throwing balls where they shouldn't be, right? You can't take shots like that. Like we were saying, when you only need a certain amount to convert, I understand the idea of taking the shot. Maybe you catch him off guard. But
Russell takes shots sometimes. We've needed 3 yards and took a 40-yarder. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
I mean, when you're reading the field and you see the guy and you see the coverage, why are you throwing the ball there? Like that's what everyone's talked about so much with Baker Mayfield is his precision accuracy, and he can hit these
they weren't
spots,
accurate
right?
today, though.
I'll
be honest. One throw,
he had some issue.
That one throw on the right sideline, I don't know who the wide receiver was. I can't remember it. I wish I had the game tape. He was rushing to his right. It was a bootleg or something. Maybe he was just freelancing it, but then he throws it down, and it was underthrown, and it gets broken up. If you watch the replay, the wide receiver had a couple steps on the guy, and if Baker had the arm strength on the run, it was a touchdown. But I'm not taking anything from Baker either because it looked like a 40-yard, 50-yard throw. I mean, not a lot of QBs are making that on the run.
Right.
Just that's like a Russell throw. He just didn't have it And he should have checked that down, knowing like he should have said to himself, I can't make that throw. Check it down.
Right.
It's 4th and 3. It's 3rd and 3, whatever it was. And that's the decision making that I wanted to point out.
That self-awareness all comes with experience. So, I mean, like I said, I still have confidence in him. I still think he's going to be good. I'm still with him. First game for his first career start, he looked pretty good. I'll give him a pretty good. But we got to clean up those decisions.
If he would have won the game, that would have really made you happy.
I still would have knocked his decisions, but I would have been happy.
But
I would have. My whole day would have changed. This game ruined my day. I was in such a bad mood for the entire night game.
Yes, he was, guys. He was texting me, crying and everything. I mean, but here's the thing, though. If you won the game, that's probably because he didn't make those decisions, so you wouldn't have to worry about those.
Or our defense showed up. Maybe that happens.
Yeah, and didn't give up 5,000 points. So the next game, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into hyperdrive here. We're at our hour mark, so let's go ahead and go into a little bit quick speed. We got the Saints facing off against the Giants. I'm going to give my piece on this, and then I'll see what Paul has to say. It's real quick. But for this game, all in all, the Giants are exactly who we thought they were. They're not that good of a team. You got Barkley, who had over 100 scrimmage yards yet again. He's actually one of 5 players in NFL history to do that in his first 4 games every single week. Kamara had 134 yards. Kamara is a beast. I think he's one of my favorite running backs in the league. I just like how versatile he is, how he can come from out of the backfield, how he can go out there, catch passes. But the Giants we've been saying it week in and week out. They're not that great of a team. There's different flaws throughout the team. I mean, yeah, they've got Barkley and everybody knows that, but you got to do more than just throw it to Barkley. And Eli really didn't do much. He had that one touchdown pass to I don't have his name on the tip of my tongue.
Sterling Shepard.
Shepard, that's it. He had that one touchdown pass to Shepard, but other than that, he really didn't do much today. And I just don't think the Giants have any wins in them this season. I mean, they're going to win a couple games here and there just because, but I think that it's time for Eli to go. I know his yards aren't bad. 255, 1 touchdown, whatever. He doesn't have that it factor anymore.
On 31 completions, he had 255 yards.
Yeah, he doesn't have that it factor anymore. He doesn't have a line to protect him either, and he's not really mobile. I just don't think, I think that this team is ready to continue rebuilding. I think they tried to, here's the thing, when they fired their coach, it was rebuild time. But it's like they tried to skip the rebuild by just getting a new coach, and that's it. A coach needs to get his own quarterback. A coach needs to develop his own offense and his own quarterback, and if they come together, it's time for Eli to go.
I mean, it is, but they're not going to do him dirty like they did last year, right? They're not going to bench Eli Manning
that was so dirty because he had the longest start record ever, though. Like, if he's going to go, let him go on his own terms, or let him go like you're done with him. Don't bench him just to bring him back the next week and ruin his record. That was like, at least let him start for 2 minutes and then put the other cat in. You know what I mean? Like, that's so terrible.
Right. But even the other cat was Geno Smith, and we already know what Geno Smith is. If you're going to play someone, play Davis Webb, right? They play the young kid that you don't know yet.
I think Geno Smith is a beast. He's like better than Baker Mayfield is all I'm saying.
Yeah, better than Russell too, right?
No, now you're high.
But so anyway, I don't have much to say about it. The Saints ran all over the Giants, but didn't really pass that much on the Giants. I mean, Drew Brees went over 200 yards, but no touchdowns, and Kamara had 3 rushing touchdowns. Kamara's a guy. He's it. So he's a gamer. But yeah, no. After the game, I saw something today. Dennis Allen, who's a defensive coordinator for the Saints, said that Eli Manning is the slowest quarterback in the league. I think that's fitting because he's kind of old and he's Peyton's brother, and Peyton was pretty slow, if you guys don't recall. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say about it. This is kind of what we expected. Saints showed up and the Giants fell apart.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the next game. It's our last game before rolling into our nighttime game. And this game was a lot closer than I really expected it. In fact, when I picked this game, it was like Yeah, it's like you can't beat him unless you got to beat him hard. I don't know what beat hard is out there to play. So the Chargers had the visiting Niners come into their stadium. It was a 27-29 battle. I know you normally read that the other direction, but so the Chargers held off this win. Phillip Rivers had 250 yards for 3 touchdowns. Beathard had 298. He outplayed Rivers, right? Breda had 39 yards, so obviously there's no run game here. But we did see Gordon continue to be Gordon. I mean, I think he had, I have it written somewhere.
6.9 average.
Oh, my goodness.
104 yards.
104 yards, exactly. I mean, Gordon is a beast. And I remember when he first got drafted and he didn't spark right away, right? And people were worried.
Oh, they jumped off his train quick.
Jumped off him quick. I remember it. And the fantasy advice, people were like, oh no, sell. And then he went. And since then, he has not turned back. He has not looked back. He's been going hard since. And people are loving it. But no, we're in the quick portion. So, hey, this is a much closer game than we thought it was going to be. The Niners have a team that they're putting together. I think a lot of this has to do with the coaching. I think Shanahan is a great coach. I think that Beathard is an experienced veteran. I mean, he's been there. The reason I even knew who he was is because he's been there for some time. He's not, a
couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, he's been the backup. He knows the system. He knows what's going on. And it was a decent game.
I agree with you. I think it's coaching also. CJ Beathard isn't all that, but
you will call him beat hard in this game.
He played pretty well today. I think this also proves remember the 49ers brought in other quarterbacks to work out once Garoppolo went down, but they didn't sign anybody, and they actually made a statement and said, we like Beathard. So I mean, this proves why they like Beathard. I mean, they look pretty good today, but that's really it. Let's get on to this night game. Let's get on to the Steelers Ravens.
Do we have to?
I mean, I don't have a lot to say about it. I'll give my spiel real quick. Okay. So the Ravens are better than I thought they were. Well, I'll start with that, big but, which everyone knows in but statements, everything I said before but is irrelevant. So the Ravens offense, they kind of have a lot of mediocre crap that they put out and then take shots at John Brown. That's their offense right there. I just explained it to you. Mediocre crap to lull the defense to sleep and then take a shot downfield. And I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with the level that the Steelers defense is playing at this year. But the fact that they just did this to the Steelers all first half, just lit them up. I mean, they had like 2 huge plays to John Brown in the first half, like on their first 2 drives. What are you doing? But the Steelers also proved something tonight. I noticed last week, they didn't score any points in the second half. They did not look good in the second half. They were a first half team, and we talked about how they got a lot of their points off the turnover machine that Tampa Bay created that week. But this week in the second half, they put up 14 points in the first half, no points in the second half. They had 200-something yards in the first half, 40-something yards in the second half. They just looked bad. That's all I got.
So this game, it's weird how I look at that because I've been on the Ravens and I've been at least supporting them. But I don't think I picked them. I think I picked the Steelers. Didn't I?
I picked the Steelers.
And
it's
what's
in
weird
Pittsburgh,
is,
so you expect that.
No, not just that. But I made my picks before I went back and looked at the game tape and everything. And because if you noticed last week's episodes, at first I was like, yeah, Steelers handled the Bucs, and then I came back on the next episode and I was like, this Pittsburgh team scares me. So Pittsburgh right now is 30th in defense. Now they're 6th in offense, and I think that's a major part of that is because they've had to keep up with everybody they're playing because they're getting so many points scored on them. But the Ravens are 2nd in defense. They're not playing that. And I think even though they're ranked 23rd in rushing. I think that's a little bit of a bad. I don't know why. Maybe they haven't had to do it, but I think Collins and Allen both are.
They just don't. It's kind of like I said. They got mediocre crap. It's not bad enough that you say, "Oh, they're bad at this," but it's not good enough for you to be like, "Man, they're really good at this."
Yeah.
Collins had 42 rushing yards today, and Javorius Allen had 30 yards.
Yeah, they're a good
average.
two-headed beast. They handle. But see, here's the thing: in some games they do even incredible things. I mean, the reason why they only had those rushing yards is because Flacco had 363 yards with 2 touchdowns. He did his thing, 28 to 42. You know,
He's taking shots to John Brown downfield.
Yeah. But here's what I also wanted to say about the Steelers: they missed Lev Bell. But I think that there's more to it. Big Ben don't look the same. I mean, he's not.
He lost weight this year.
Maybe he needs to put that back on or something because he just.
But I think he's trying to last longer. I think is what it is. Everyone's watching Tom Brady do his whole TB12 thing with flexibility and his vegan diet and all this crap. And
well, he better be careful because he's turning into Jay Cutler.
Okay. Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, I'm just saying. Look, this game is very sad and it's very worrying. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers are now, what are they? 1-2-1. 2-1. I mean, Connor had 19 yards. 19 yards.
They could not move the ball, and this is a huge testament to the Ravens too. Though their defense is really good, but the Steelers, they don't look good overall. They don't look. I said, with the past couple weeks, I've been saying, Pittsburgh's okay. They're dealing with their crap, whatever. They're going to turn it around. They're probably still going to win the division. They're going to go to. I don't think so. I don't think they're winning the division. If they go to the playoffs.
No, This division belongs to either the Ravens or the Bengals right now.
Right at this point, and both of them are playing like it. Both of them are playing well, but they have the control and they're keeping it right. They're rolling with it. They're winning their games. They're playing well. So they're playing like they want it. The Steelers aren't playing like they want it.
So here's what I'll say, and then I'll end it. Right now, when you look at what they've got coming up for the rest of the season.
It's a tough schedule.
They might not even. I think they would get 8 wins. They might get 8 wins. That's it. 8-7-1. That's
and
what
if they're 8-7-1, they're missing the playoffs.
No, 100%, 100%. If they're 8-7-1, if they're 8-7-1, I would say they might be lower than the Browns, but the Browns obviously lost the game that I would have given them today to be whatever. But
give them their chance.
But they might be only a couple games higher than the Browns, is what I'm saying. Browns will probably have maybe 5 or 6 wins. After today's game, I had the Browns up a little bit higher. I'm thinking 5-6 wins tops. The way that the Steelers are playing, 8 wins tops.
Yeah, unless something drastic changes, I agree with you.
And mainly that's also because you have to look at the rest of their schedule. They got Atlanta next week, the Bengals the next week, a bye, then the Browns, and the Browns, it's not going to be an easy game. Then Baltimore again, then the Panthers, then the Jaguars, then the Broncos.
They have a tough schedule.
Chargers. Oh my goodness. Honestly, looking at this schedule, other than the Browns, they might not win again until December.
I mean, it's a potential. But so we just talked about the Steelers. I do want to bring up one other thing.
Yeah.
So the Steelers are actively shopping Le'Veon Bell. They are actively looking for trade partners. I know Philly's been interested.
Yep, Philly has shown interest.
I want to talk about real quick though. Not when I say real quick, I mean real quick. It's irrelevant now. I saw today that they were interested in trading player for player Le'Veon Bell for Earl Thomas.
I'm down. And then he broke his leg.
It's over. Yeah, it's over now. It's not going to happen. But when I saw that today, I was like, that's super interesting. I have to bring that up tonight. And then. Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved that trade. I didn't want to give up Earl, but I would have took that trade. I'm like,
that's a blockbuster move.
Yeah.
During the season too. That's awesome.
Hey,
that's exciting.
That's
stuff.
like Seattle saying,
exciting.
hey, here's this player that doesn't want to be with us. We'll take the player that doesn't want to be with you. You know,
right? Then you can pay him, and we'll probably not pay this guy, and he'll leave us anyway. But whatever.
Yeah, we'll see
also,
what we can do.
One other thing I want to bring up before I guess we talk about tomorrow night, the Seahawks. Real quick, I thought of this, but we had already moved on. The Seahawks. Something I'm noticing. Why is it that the guys that they spend money on or that you expect to be good at the running back position in Seattle are never the ones that show up? Like after Marshawn Lynch leaves, right?
Who have they ever spent money on after Marshawn Lynch?
Eddie Lacy. I'm not saying they spent a ton of money on him.
I totally forgot we had Eddie Lacy for a little bit.
I'm not saying they spent a ton of money on him, but they went out and got him, and Eddie Lacy had been a first-round draft pick, right?
Yeah, well, he got Tubby, though.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying he like this guy should succeed. We have an incentivized contract that's going to keep his weight in check. We got all this crap, right? All this stuff, and Eddie Lacy should be the guy. He's a power runner. He's what we do. Him and Marshawn Lynch have similar styles, right? And he's a dud, and Chris Carson and CJ Prosise, and
because honestly, to me, Chris Carson and Thomas Rawls, because they were the ones that were the most successful, and Mike Davis, they're more like Marshawn Lynch than Eddie Lacy was with us. Now, back in Eddie Lacy's little prime that he had with the Packers, he had a little bit, good. But he still was a bigger, like Marshawn, even though Marshawn's a power runner, he's always been a thin power runner. Like Marshawn's not. Marshawn's built like a rock. Guy. He's got like big shoulders, and he's got those.
He's still 220, 230,
he's
whatever.
He's still solid, and he's thick, but he's not. He's not like your what's big boy from the Panthers name? He's not like he's not like that.
Mike Tolbert.
Yeah, he's not like Eddie Lacy. He's not like. These different running backs that we've seen over the years that are just big boys, So
right.
I don't think that was ever really a good thing. I think I loved when Thomas Rawls did his thing. I love when Mike Davis did it last year and this year. I love when Chris Carson, because they're muscle backs. They're not like fat backs. So
my point was this year too, they go out and draft Rashad Penny first over or in the first round, right? And Rashad Penny's a big. I mean, he's not huge. He's at 225 though, 225, 230.
Yeah, he had a couple good rushes today.
But like this year, he hasn't shown up. Chris Carson went for 100 yards last week. He gets injured. Mike Davis goes for 100 yards this week, right? Or was it 100 yards?
Yeah, 101. But Penny had a couple rushes today. Penny came into the season injured, and he's also new to this scheme. He's learning how everything goes. Give him time. He's a first-round, brand-new running back. He looked good on a couple plays. He looked bad on a couple plays. I say give him time before we crown him and before we dump him.
You know who was drafted after Rashad Penny who looks pretty good right now?
Who's that?
Nick Chubb.
'Cause one game.
Also, he's picked like one spot behind him, two spots behind him, something like that. Seattle traded back, right, to take they picked Penny, what, like 31st overall or something like that?
Something like that.
But yeah, either way, Chubb was the first pick in the second round. But all right, on to Monday night. Let's get this out. Let's run through this pretty quick. We got the Chiefs coming into Denver to play the Broncos. The Chiefs have won their last 3 matchups against the Broncos. They don't look good right now. The Broncos don't. Offensively. Defensively, they look okay, but the Chiefs are this high-powered team. What do you got for us?
I mean, I've already made my pick on this one. Chiefs win this game, beat the hell out of them. There's really not much I want to say about that.
Okay. Well, I agree with you. Chiefs are going to take this one. Pat Mahomes is going to keep doing his thing. That's really all I got to say, too.
All right, guys. Hey, so check it out. It is Monday for you listening. It's Sunday night for us. This has been the weekly wrap-up. So Wednesday, we'll have the Tuesday night episode, which means we'll go over Monday's game. So be back on Wednesday. We're going to have a midweek episode. We're looking to have another interview for you. We're looking to have a couple other things we're putting in the plannings now. We're going to keep these Wednesday episodes fresh, and we want to keep the content flowing to you. In order to do so, we need you to go ahead and like, share, follow, wherever you're listening. Support what you hear, support what's going on, and let us know that you like it and that you want more of it so that we can continue to grow and continue to give that to you. But until we see you next time, you guys have a great time. This is Mike Pagano. That's Paul Helmers. We'll be back on Wednesday.